Why do some people struggle with money while others make the right decisions and build lasting wealth? In this mini-series, Dr. Matt and I explore the psychology of money and the behaviors that quietly shape financial lives. Y'all, money's emotional. It's tied to fear, identity, habits, and even relationships. And we've learned that long-term financial success is as much about behavior as it is math. Even the best financial plan can be undone by poor behavior, while good financial behavior has the potential to compound more powerfully than investment returns. In this series, we explore why people struggle with money, how emotions drive decisions, and how habits shape your financial life. This is the stuff about money they didn't teach you in school, Psychology Edition. Welcome back to the stuff about money they didn't teach you in school. I am your co-host, certified financial planner, Erik Garcia, and I am joined by my friend and co-host for this series, Dr. Matt Morris. We've invited Dr. Matt on because this entire series is about the psychology of money. And if you've been following me, you know I love talking about the behavior side of money. Matt and I have done a lot of collaborating together, and this is a particularly good episode for Matt's expertise. So, Matt, Richard Thaler is considered the father of modern behavior economics. All right?
Okay.
He said something along the lines of, if you want to understand economic behavior, you have to understand that humans are, well, human. And what he was implying there is that people do not act rationally when it comes to making financial decisions.
Yeah.
And by rationally, he would define it as they don't make consistent decisions what's in their best long-term interest. So they're irrational. They're inconsistent. I don't know if he's used this word, but I imagine he has in his work. They're emotional.
Yes.
And we are driven so much by emotions as people. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, our emotions drive our thoughts, drive our behaviors. We feel, act, and respond. We feel, and we respond. And so if you think about how we engage with money or spend money or behave around money, same concept. We feel, and then we act with money. And so it really is important. I think this is where we're going, is to pay attention to what emotions are behind financial actions.
Yeah. It's almost like emotions are, it's kind of like they're a signal. Hey, something's going on, something's happening, right? There's some stimulus in the environment that it's causing you to feel a certain way: happy, sad, fearful, greedy, confident, insecure. What is it that triggered that, and do I need to respond to it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the emotion is there. First of all, the emotion is there. We as humans are not robots. I think that's the kind of where the quote was going. We're not acting always emotionally based on what is, emotionally. We're not acting without emotion. We are acting fully influenced by our emotion. And so because of that, we don't always make the best financial decision. You started to say that emotion is a signal. And let me just back up and peel that back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we experience emotion all the time, we often think that our emotion fits the moment perfectly. It's how we should feel.
Okay.
It is, you know, we might say it's not a fact. It's a feeling. But we often act like it's a fact. I'm angry, I must yell at somebody. Or somebody cut me off in traffic, I should be angry. You know, we have these like ways of thinking about emotion that let emotion govern us too much.
So market drops 5% because something happened, war or something crazy happens. I see my portfolio.
Or just a
drop.
Tuesday, just a normal Tuesday.
It's just a normal Tuesday. It's just a normal Tuesday. Market's down, and I lose $30,000, and I'm afraid, and I'm panicking. That is the signal. So what you're saying is in that moment, it feels right. It feels like that is supposed to, and I should respond appropriately.
Yeah.
Or I should respond consistently with that emotion. Responding consistently with the emotion is not necessarily the appropriate response, is what you're suggesting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Another way of saying it is emotion or feelings are data, but they're not directives.
Say it again. So emotions are data. It's like a data point.
Are good data, but they're not directives. They're not marching orders.
So I'm afraid of the economy, and my response is I want to go to cash.
Yeah.
But maybe I should. Let me stop and bring in some facts or.
Yeah. So the emotion is data, but not directive. So the emotion is fear. The fear is a data point. And it's often right now a valid data point. It's not an absurd data point. It's not absurd to be fearful. But it's not a directive. It doesn't necessarily mean because I'm fearful, I should get out of the market, or I should, you're the financial expert here. I'm the emotions guy, so I'm not going to give financial advice, but it doesn't necessarily mean I have to act on the fear.
Yeah.
By changing up by calling you and going, hey, get me out of the market quickly.
I remember having a conversation with you. This was years ago. I don't know which market crisis it was, but it was a market crisis. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if it was
2008.
No, it wasn't that far. It was in the recent memory. So it was within the past 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And all the emails that I was getting from the investment companies that we work with. So these are the big investment firms, the Fidelities and those big companies, right? All the emails that they're feeding us of content is don't panic. Tell your clients not to panic. And I remember reading it thinking man, they're afraid and they're anxious. I'm not going to say don't panic. They're well within their right to feel like they should panic. And I remember having a conversation with you because I wanted to craft the message to my clients. And the last thing I wanted to say was hey man, don't panic.
Chill out.
Right? You have a real emotion.
Relax.
You need to minimize it by saying don't panic.
Yeah.
So I think that the communication basically it acknowledged that, hey, yeah, this is a pretty scary time. Mm-hmm. And if you're feeling afraid, it's probably an appropriate response to a 20% market drop.
Yeah.
And then kind of backfilled it with here's some things to consider.
Yeah. Right. You and I one time had a conversation, and it had to be a pretty long time ago because I remember where I was at the time, and I haven't been to that place in many, many, many years. So I was asking you about a big market drop, and I was probably a little panicky or scared or something like that. So I was having the data point of the emotion of fear, and it had gotten me to call you. The emotion had influenced my behavior. I had reached out to you, I called you. And what you did is you just educated me a little bit more. You reminded me of the history of the market, what it typically does, what it's done many, many times before, and, will likely do again. And that this experience that was causing me to have fear was likely part of that larger cycle or pattern.
Yeah.
And you just sort of educated me on, here's likely what this means. And I know that one of the best predictors of future behavior is the past. That's what we say about humans all the time, but we can also say that about the market. Mm-hmm. And so
it's actually in all of our disclosure. That's exactly what we say about the market.
It helped calm me down.
Yeah.
And I didn't end up going into cash or all gold.
All gold. So here's what's so interesting.
I didn't just blow it at the casino. Yeah.
Especially in the world that we live in. There are so many, we give access. We give permission to so many things to influence and trigger our emotions. I don't know that we necessarily realize what we're doing, right? So, for example, in our last episode, we talked about our TikTok algorithm or social media. We give
money scripts.
Yeah, we give so much permission for people we don't even know to not just inform us, but to kind of stoke emotions that trigger us to do things that often are inconsistent with what we value.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Reddit thread or a ChatGPT query prompt or a TikTok or Insta video that's being fed to us. It's like we're walking into this like emotional contagion voluntarily.
Yeah.
And we're not emotionally prepared to deal with the impacts of it.
Right. Right. I mean, I guess what you're saying is we're inundated with financial information right now. And we often give outside influences access to us to inundate us with information. You know, when I first got into the market many years ago, I would once a month get a statement in the mail. And that was my only like peek into what the market was doing. Unless I watched the news and paid really close attention for that 3 or 4 seconds where they said the Dow's up or down today, you know, which I didn't do. So basically I got one peek a month.
Yeah.
Now I get notifications throughout the day.
Yeah.
About holdings in my portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's pretty interesting to me. A lot of the conversations that we have with clients, or people will call us prospects, clients, and it's response to a particular TikTok video or social video. A lot of times they're very informative. I'm not knocking social media. I look at social media as a source of information oftentimes. But it's amazing to me how much permission we give to things that we don't know. We don't know the creators. They don't know us, but we invite them into our emotional space, and the things that they're saying triggers us or it stokes us in certain ways. And it's not just market related. You know, there's emotions about how I feel about my debt, the emotion of how I feel about others around me and things that they have that I don't have, and feelings of like insufficiency or whatever it might be when it comes to money that lead us to do things.
Money is, I mean, emotion is one of the most valid ways to know that something is important to you.
Say that one more time for me, because we're kind of dogging emotions to some degree here, but you just said something really important, and I want people to hear it.
When you feel particularly a strong emotion, as part of the human experience, when you feel a strong emotion, when you're really angry, or you feel yourself tearing up, or you hear yourself shout with like excitement and joy, or you want to dance, or you want to hug somebody, or you want to run and dash and hide, or you startle. When you have one of those strong emotions, that is one of the most valid ways to know that something is important to you. And so when you are nervous about money, anxious about money, or fearful about money, it's one of the most valid ways to know that something about that money, something about that is really important to you. And it's probably not the surface level thing, like what's the market doing? It's probably a deeper issue, like, will I have enough? You know, that's kind of the existential fear that relates to money is, will I have enough? Will I live enough while I have money? Will I spend my money now or save it? Will I waste it?
Yeah. So
will I regret it?
Yeah. So if the market's down today, it's not that the market's down today that's causing me this anxiety. It's, oh my God, the market's down today, which means I might not have enough later on, which almost ties back to our previous episode about mindsets, right? These emotions are triggering certain experiences possibly that we've had, which are causing us to want to do things that are inconsistent. And I don't like to use this word specifically when I'm talking to people like, hey, you're just acting irrationally, right? Because the last thing I want to do, and I probably learned this just in being in relationship with so many different people, last thing I want to do is tell you how you should be feeling right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to tell you should be afraid about the market. I don't want to tell you that you should feel okay. Like, you feel something. There's a reason you feel it. There's a legitimacy to you having that emotion.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that we make a good decision that's consistent with the things that are most important to you, that you've told me that are important to you, that are not being hijacked by that emotion.
And some behaviors are irrational, but for the most part, we don't think about feelings as being irrational. We think about them as being signals that something is really important to you. And then we want to be able to connect that to the thing that's really important.
So, okay. So cool. Let's wrap it up on this point right here. We talk about the emotions trigger us to do certain things sometimes that are inconsistent with what's most important to us. What are ways, give me one practical or tactical thing that I can do to help me, maybe in a moment of high emotion, fear, whatever the emotion is, doesn't matter. What's a really good way for me to stop and consider, and maybe I'm giving it away here, but like what's to deal with that emotion, to make sure that the behavior that I'm going to choose or not choose to follow up that emotion with is a good one?
A lot of times if you can name the emotion, that's helpful. I am angry. Just being able to say that, I am angry. And what I'm enjoying doing right now with a lot of folks, even myself, is to look at, and this is so silly because this sounds like I'm a new therapist and I've been doing this for 20 years, but get one of those emotions wheels. Have you seen those?
Uh-huh.
Like a chart of emotions?
Yeah.
And, there's big ones on there that like angry, sad, happy. And then there's little ones that branch off from the big ones. And so that's what I like to do, is ask people to name their emotion, and they'll normally name like one of the big 5 or so.
Yeah.
But then I want you to also name the more minor or smaller emotions that you're feeling. And really try to clarify what you're feeling. What's the right cluster of words to describe what you're feeling? Just doing that process slows you down.
Yeah.
Just that whole process slows you down. It shifts you back from, the more reactive brain to the more thoughtful brain. So already now you've bought yourself some time between your feeling and your action, just in doing that. But you've also taken a peek into yourself, and now you're understanding a little bit more about your own emotional experience. You become a little bit more literate about your emotional world. And then you can take it a step further. You can say, what behavior does that emotion want from me? Yeah. What does it typically call me to do? You can just that. Just do that. Do that with your spouse, your friend, by yourself.
Yeah.
A mirror.
Certainly doing self-reflection is important, but it is wildly valuable to have someone to talk through that with. Good friends, even a professional, even someone you pay to help you have those conversations, especially when the stakes are high. The higher the stakes, I think the more important to have a professional work through those things with you, whether it's a professional therapist, a professional financial planner, depending on the particular, whatever the particular discipline is that needs to be addressed. But Matt, good stuff. Again, appreciate your willingness to contribute to our listeners.
My pleasure.